guys. So language for today, we are going to be talking about different words that a lot of people use incorrectly. So we want to make sure that we are using these, there's 8 of them, these 8 words correctly, and they kind of come in groups of 2. Okay, so when we are talking about, or when we are using the word amount, we want to use the word amount when we're talking about something that can't be counted. Like if I want to know how much sugar I need for a recipe, I would say, what amount of sugar does the recipe call for? Okay? Now, we use the word number if we're talking about things that can be counted. If I want to know how many Legos are in a box, I wouldn't say, what amount of Legos are in that box? Because Legos can be counted. Sugar cannot be counted. So I use amount when I'm talking about something that can't be counted. I would use the word number if I'm talking about something that could be counted. What is the number of Legos in that box? What is the number of shoes that you have in your closet? These are things that can be counted, so we would use the word number. Things that cannot be counted, sugar or flour or sand, things like that, we would use the word amount, okay? Next we have between and among. We use the word between when we're talking about 2 things. I sat between mom and dad. The dog lay between the tree and the bush. When it's 2 things that we're dealing with or talking about, we use the word between. But if it's more than 2 things that we're dealing with or talking about, we use the word among. The dog lay among the flowers. Must have been a whole flower garden, okay? So we use the word among. I sat among my relatives. I sat in the middle of all my relatives. Okay, so we use among when we're dealing with more than 2 things, between if we're dealing with just 2 things. Then we have can and may. This is all the way back from 1st grade. Can is the ability to do something. May gives you permission to do something. You don't ask your parents, can I get up from the table? Of course you have the ability to do that, but you ask them, may I get up from the table? Or may I go outside and play? Whatever you're asking for permission for, you use may. Can is the ability to do it. I can make 10 baskets in a row. I can run faster than you. So that's the ability to do it. Then our last 2 words I'm going to be talking about is less and fewer. Less and fewer could really go up here. It could be amount and less, number and fewer. It's the exact same rules apply. If we're talking about something that deals with an amount, we would say less. This recipe calls for less flour than that recipe. Okay, we can't count that flour, we can't count the sugar, so it's less. If we're talking about something that can be counted, then we would use fewer. Fewer and number would be the same. This recipe calls for fewer eggs than that recipe. He had fewer pancakes today than he did yesterday. So if it can be counted, then it's fewer or it's number. If it can't be counted and we're talking about an amount, then it is less or amount. Now if you get out your language books and open them to page 261, you will see everything that I talked about at the top of your book in the blue box if you need to refer back to that. Go ahead and look at Think A. It says choose the correct word in parentheses and write it in the blank. Blank, I read that book after you are done with it. At the end they're telling us that we can choose can or may. They're asking for permission to read someone's book, so we definitely would use the word may. Number 2, most rainfall is much blank than an inch. Now, and at the end they give us the words less or fewer to choose from. Can we count rainfall? No, we cannot count it, so we would have to use the word less than an inch. Number 3, do you know the blank of students that made the honor roll? Okay, so they give us the 2 words amount or number. We definitely can count the students that made the honor roll, so we will use the word number. Number 4, Jesus was crucified blank 2 thieves. There was only 2 thieves that he was crucified. So would that be between or among? If it were just 2, we would use the word between. So you're going to go ahead and on your language assignment post for today, you will follow those directions that's on your post and complete the language assignment. Turn to page 262 On Think B, it says if the italicized word is used incorrectly, draw a neat line through the word. You'll do this in your book. Your assignment post will tell you to do something different. Just follow those directions on there when you get to the post. Draw a neat line through the word and put the correct word in the blank. If the italicized word is correct, write correct in the blank to the left. So, number 1, the content ended in a tie between Amy and Emily. We were talking about two peoples, so between is the correct word, so it would be correct. Less students tried out for the play this year than expected. Can we count students? Yes, we can count students. So if we count them, then we would not use less, but we would use fewer. I think less is probably between can and may. Less and fewer are probably two of the sets of messed up words that are used incorrectly. So fewer students, because most of us would say less, but it is fewer students. Number 3, Robin Hood can shoot an arrow straighter than anyone in all of England, said Little John. So can, he has the ability to do that, so that is correct. And number 4, what number of arrows hit the bullseye? We can count arrows, so we wouldn't say what amount, but what number, so that sentence is correct at all. So like I said, follow the instructions on your assignment post, what it says to do, and complete your language assignment for today.